Hello and welcome to this week's look at action and stunts on film and television. How are you? I hope you are well. Welcome to Friday, the weekend. Last week, you will remember that I said we were going to take a look at something sort of old school in relation to action and stunts, and it turns out that this show's actually been quite important over the years. It's a show called You Asked For It, and you may remember way back when HAL Needham making an early appearance on this show, jumping from an aeroplane and effectively bulldogging a guy who was riding on a horse. So the plane was going about 60 miles an hour and the horse was doing about 40 miles an hour, and Hal leaps out, bulldogs the guy to the ground. That was the idea. Could it be done? They proved it could be done. Because of that, he then subsequently made a number of appearances on the show as a stuntman. And this particular show was kind of thrived on that sort of thing. What it was, you would get letters, old-fashioned pen to paper from members of the public going, look, I saw a film the other week. It was a Cary Grant movie or a War Pictures or whatever it was, and there was a scene in that, and this guy did this. How does that happen? Can you find out? And then they would go, Jack Smith, who was the presenter, they would go and create a scene, a sequence, and they would take the cameras with them and they would break down the whole thing and they would show you exactly what went on. Not dissimilar to what we're doing now. There were a number of shows over the years that, did similar sort of things. Just Amazing, do you remember that? Or That's Amazing? Just Amazing? Just Amazing. I think it was Barry Sheen, Suzanne Danielle, and Kenny Lynch. So the three of them on ITV, and they would do similar exercises. How do you do this? Well, we do this like this. And then there's a BBC show, that's not easy to say, BBC show, I think originally was presented by the old silver fox himself, Desmond Lynam. Des Lynam presented that for a little while, and then it was handed over to the lunatic Eamon Holmes. Terrible human. Anyway, so he was your man who then took over and did a show entitled How Do They Do That? It had nothing to do with employing him professionally. It had How Do They Do That? How do they make this? How do they do that? And that was a similar sort of exercise. So that's what they started doing. They now, you dive on the internet, you'll find anything you need as far as how things are created, how stuff is created. We've put together a series of shows. My huge thanks to the people from the YouTube channel You Asked For It. The link is down below if you want to go and join them and subscribe. They've got hundreds of shows, not just the ones that we're looking at, but hundreds of shows dedicated to this. So go and check them out. And here it comes.
Well, hi there. We're glad you could join us. Yes, that's a flying saucer. Now, is it real or foolish fiction? Well, tonight, we'll hear some amazing eyewitness accounts of adventures with flying saucers and travelers from outer space. But right now, let's join two men who die for a living. Here we go.
Pretty terrifying sight, wasn't it? Mighty convincing.
In the movies, we see stunts like this all the time, and that's what prompted this letter from Larry Robinson and his father from Fremont, Texas. They write, "We saw a war scene in the movie The Young Lions, where two motorcycle riders were literally blown into the air, the cycle flying one way and the riders another. I'd like to see how that was possible without anyone being hurt." Well, first, Larry, maybe we better see if anyone was hurt. Everything okay, fellas?
Why, sure, Jack.
Where are I? Folks, meet Cliff Rose and Harold Needham, veteran movie stuntmen. They'll perform that stunt again for us. But right now, Cliff, we'd like to know how you did it.
Okay, take a look at the cycle, Jack. Now, the first thing you'll notice is this line attached to the front wheel. It's an elastic shock cable called a bungee. Dead man there at the center and halfway out. So the sickle travels in a wide arc on a cable from the center point. Our special effects man, Rusty Jackson, controls the cable. And when he triggers the quick release, the elastic cable yanks our sickle towards him. Just like the snap of a rubber band.
Well, now I know how the speeding cycle goes one way. But how do you two manage to get off the cycle without getting hurt?
Well, there's the answer, Jack. We weld a special step on the cycle, and then as the shock cord is triggered, we use the step to throw ourselves in the opposite direction. And we leave the cycle, and we're under good control.
Well, then you actually dive off. It's a matter of really split-second timing, isn't it?
That's it exactly. We spot a landmark, like a tree or a rock, right beside where the explosion is buried. So we know when to time ourselves when the shock cord is released.
Well, now, what about this explosion?
Well, Rusty takes a half stick of dynamite, and he buries it 6 inches in the ground. Then he covers it with fuller's earth. And then to get the effects of the rocks, well, he uses sponge or cork or something like that. And then when the explosion occurs, well, there's no danger of us getting hurt.
I see.
A detonating wire attached to the dynamite is strung to the center triggering point. Rusty will set it off as he triggers the bungee.
This is hard on both men and motorcycle, but we'd like to see the whole stunt done again. This time we watch the stunt from the other end of the cable where the special effects man operates. I'll sure leave that to the experts. You know, it all happened so quickly that maybe some of you didn't get a good chance to see it. But fortunately, we had a slow motion camera right at the point of the explosion. So why don't we see it again, this time in slow motion? And Hal Needham, stuntmen who die for a living. Larry Robinson, you asked for it. In answer to a request, you're about to witness a typical scene from a Western movie. And let me warn you in advance, you're about to be fooled. When it comes to movies, you can't believe your eyes, but keep them glued to your screen anyway. Perhaps you can catch us in the act. Remember, you asked for it.
right, hold it right there. You're covered. And don't make any fast moves, especially toward that television dial. Well, you've just seen a man shot out of his saddle at a full gallop. 2 men bit the dust falling from high rocks, and my horse was shot out from under me, which was a mighty close call. And yet, not one single person was hurt in all this furious violence. Now, Mr. Arthur Green of Linden, New Jersey, says he saw a similar scene in a Clark Gable picture and wants to know how such dangerous stunts, especially those involving a big star, can be done in a Western movie. Well, Mr. Green, let's go back to the beginning of the action scene triggered by your request and take it one stunt at a time. And if there are any tricks or gimmicks, we'll show them to you.
Remember when I shot that first lawman out of the saddle? Well, there were no hidden gimmicks or tricks connected with that. Just good horsemanship and courage. Constant practice makes it possible to take a fall like this and stop in just the right spot for the camera. We're at Corriganville, famous movie location ranch.
Now, this is a real gun that shoots blanks. This rifle is made of rubber. So's this 6-gun. They have to be for stunts such as a high fall. A real weapon would severely injure a man if he should land on it. Watch this and you'll see what I mean.
A stuntman like Cliff Rose, who takes a high fall like this, has to be half daredevil, half acrobat. His timing has to match his nerve or he's in trouble.
How's a stunt like that done without breaking every bone in a man's body? Well, here's the gimmick.
In some movie scenes, when a high fall is called for, dummies are used. But both the high fall you just saw and this unbelievable fall, 35 feet straight down, were executed by men very much alive, who want very much to keep on living. The answer? They land on ordinary mattresses, but under the mattresses are layers of cardboard boxes. The boxes collapse and absorb the impact. Getting a horse shot out from under you is quite a trick, especially when the script requires you to follow through with more action. A slow motion camera shows just how rough it is. Years ago in pictures, horses were tripped to make them fall, but today horses like this one, trained by owner HAL NEEDHAM, respond to the pull of a rein and fall on cue. Now, if you think I was riding that falling horse, you're wrong. I was waiting safely behind this big rock. When HAL NEEDHAM rolled out of sight of the camera, I simply came out shooting. We were dressed alike, so when I ran into the close-up on top of the hill, you were fooled.
You see, Arthur Green, in Hollywood, you can't even believe your own eyes. It's a clever magic world of make-believe alive with tricks and gimmicks. We want to thank HAL NEEDHAM and Cliff Rose for their part in helping us show you behind the scenes. We also want to thank our other 2 stuntmen for their help, and they are
HAL NEEDHAM
And Cliff Rose.
Well, how are your eyes, Mr. Green? You asked for it.
One thing I'll bet you never saw at a Saturday matinee was a 2-man fall from a plane with only 1 man wearing a parachute. So dangerous that veteran stuntmen Cliff Rose and HAL NEEDHAM never dared try it before. But you asked for it, so they volunteered to make the attempt. Now, they weren't at all sure how it would come out, and frankly, neither were we. So hold your breath, Lucille, because though this is a mixture of modern day and yesterday, it's for real.
There's the villain about to make his getaway. But he still has the hero to reckon with. They're using an old Jenny biplane, vintage of the early 20s. Not so fast, Buster. In the nick of time. The bang-up movie fight, but they didn't rehearse what we're about to see. We have cameras on the ground, in a helicopter, and in another plane to film the actual parachute drop from start to finish. Now note this and remember it. Hal Needham, the villain, is wearing a parachute. Cliff Rose, our hero, is not. All the odds are against him. Cliff Rose has actually made 42 Batman jumps. He's dropped from a low-flying plane into a plowed field without a parachute, but never before from 2,000 feet in the air. One man on a parachute, the other clinging to him for life. And still the fight goes on. Not all according to plan. Cliff Rose had hoped to drop off at 50 feet into the water, but tricky winds made it impossible. So into the drink together. A boat standing by speeds to the rescue. Our copter swings down to film the fight in the water. Well, the heroes won the battle, so now in the best tradition, he saves the villain's life. Both men exhausted, and you've seen why. A handshake for the hero, but right now he swears he'll never try that stunt again. From a high plane, two men on one parachute performed for the first time by Cliff Rose and Hal Needham. You asked for it.
Baby, Buttercup. I want you to meet Buttercup here. Buttercup's been a great pal of mine. She's one of two horses, she is, that we've been rehearsing here on this movie set in order to answer the request. Hi, Guy.
Hello, Art.
Thank you very much, Buttercup. We'll see you later. And by the way, I just remember I left my letter back there, Guy. Would you bring it out to me? I recall what it is. The request is from someone who is very worried about horses being hurt. Yeah, thank you very much, Guy. It's from J.W. Pedersen of Seattle, Washington. He says, Dear Mr. Baker, in Western movies, I've often seen dangerous spills taken by a hard-riding cowboy and his horse. Now, tell me, do they trip the poor animal or what in order to get that fall on film? I am concerned, that's why I'm asking. Can you explain this to me on your show? Sincerely, J.W. Pedersen. Mr. Pedersen, I know exactly how you feel. There are hundreds of people who think that there shouldn't be any horse falls because the horse must be hurt and injured just to give us some excitement. I want to set your mind at rest. On the set of every stage where there is a horse fall, there is a member of the American Humane Association present. And even on our set right here on our stage, we have a member I want you to meet right now. His name is Jimmy Jack. Mr. Jack. I think the people will be interested in having an answer. Do they trip the poor animal or what?
No, they don't trip, Mark. 10 years ago, they outlawed the wires, tripping devices, pitfalls, and such things as that. Now we utilize a trained falling horse. That's a horse that's trained to fall on the cue.
I see. And you take, of course, extra precautions, too.
Oh, yes, just this on your set here. Celotex runway, sand, wrestling mats underneath the sand, and ample sand to ensure no injury at any time, to any animal.
Well, I can understand now why this was placed there. Tell me about these specially trained horses. They must be marvelous. Are there a great number of them?
No, they're not. We use about 500 horses a week in pictures, and there's only 10 trained falling horses. And speaking of specialists, here's Danny Fisher and Hot Rod, two of the best.
Right.
Hi.
Say hi.
Hello, Art.
Hi. I'm glad to see you indeed. Hot Rod, I've heard a lot about you, my friend. Say, how many falls has Hot Rod taken?
Well, he's made about 600 horse falls in his life.
600. That's miraculous. And does he mind it? Does he like it, or?
No, he likes the work, Art. He's never been hurt, so if you ever hurt him, you couldn't get him to fall again.
I guess you couldn't if he didn't want to do it there. Do you have special harness or thing, or saddle?
I have a rubber saddle and a rubber stirrup. That protects his back and his side.
Oh, yes, so it won't gouge him if he falls on it there. Now, here's the only thing I've seen you in action. It takes just about 2 seconds. I may not be quick enough unless I know exactly what you're going to do. Explain this fall, will you?
Well, I go down to the end of this runway, run up here and hit this sand spot, and I hope I can beat the horse up.
And what signal do you give?
Well, when I cue him with the right rein, pull the rein, and the horse falls.
You mean you got him so precisely trained that he will stop on a spot where you want him to, where our camera will be, and we can see it?
That's right.
That I got to see. Anything else we should know about it?
Yeah, take this gun.
Yeah?
When I get right about here, shoot me right in the back.
Shoot you in the back.
Please, settle down. Roll it.
Mr. Pedersen, please remember, you asked for it.
Scene 4, take 1.
Danny, you all right?
Fine, Art.
Oh, brother, Hot Rod. How's he?
Fine, ready to do it again. We got time?
No, we haven't got time. That's enough action. That was printed and cut, believe me. I want to thank you, and you deserve a great deal of credit for the action you have given us here tonight and on the many pictures. Thanks very much for being with. Good luck to you, Hot Rod. Brother, that was really something there. I want to thank the American Humane Association also for their humanity in watching out for animals' protection. By the way, RKO is the one that arranged this for us. While I was over there, I saw a very interesting preview of their new picture. It's 2 tickets to Broadway. I was hoping you'd see a horse spill in that, but it's a musical, quite a one with Tony Martin, Ann Miller, and Janet Leigh, and a bunch of stars there. And by the way, Mr. J.W. Pedersen of Seattle, Washington, you sure gave us some thrills because you asked for it. I see there's no more time here, and so I want some Christmas suggestions from you, and here's what you do. Put it on a letter, put the envelope, and dress it this way. You asked for it.
Here he comes in with the horse. He's got to pull the right rein. He gets hold of him there. The horse's head comes right the way round as far as it will go, and he bails. It's lovely. Down onto the sand. It's got the padding underneath. It's beautifully done. And as he says, he's done it, over 400 times. A really professional job. And to do it live. Very clever.
Back to You Asked For It, and here's Jack Smith.
Whoa! Okay, fellas, kill the rear process. Well, howdy there, partners. Looked as if I was really moving, didn't it? Actually, I was perched up on this seat the whole time, and the only thing moving was the background. It's a convenient way to bring the whole Wild West into a television studio. Now, we set up this absolutely safe stagecoach ride because of this letter from Mrs. Edwin Beardsley of Chardon, Ohio, and she writes, I'd like to see the girl who made a leap from her horse to a runaway stagecoach on a recent TV show. It looked very dangerous, and I'm asking to see how she does it. Well, Mrs. Beardsley, undoubtedly the young lady that you had in mind is Miss Donna Hall. Hi, Donna.
Hi, Jack. Hello, Mrs. Beardsley.
Now, Donna's category is stunt girl and double, and believe me, when Donna rides, it's without the benefit of processed screens like this. So, to answer your request, we sent our cameras to Iverson's Movie Ranch to look in on a typical day's work for a girl like Donna Hall. Mrs. Beardsley, you asked for it.
know, Donna, I'll bet it seems strange to you to see yourself all the way through a film.
Sure does, Jack. Usually I just come in when a stunt is due. Some pictures I'm only on the screen a few seconds.
And even your own mother would have a hard time recognizing you, huh?
That's right, Jack. I'm always supposed to be somebody else. Usually the star. I wear their costume and they shoot me from a long shot. It's pretty hard to tell.
Well, let's go back to the film, and this time behind the scenes, and see the effort that goes into one little scene like that stagecoach rescue, and learn just how it's done.
In nearly every horse opera, you can bet your Levi's on a runaway stagecoach scene. Now, how to make this a thriller and humane at the same time was a problem Hollywood solved very neatly. Step one is a sort of step stirrup that supports Donna as she leaps from her mount onto the runaway stage. Meanwhile, back at the ranch, the wranglers are bringing up the coach and horses. Donna, farther down the road, is mounted and ready for the director's cue for action. The runaway coach is actually under full control at all times without any hazard to the horses. A blind driver, so called because of his skill at handling a team of horses with these piano wire reins which are invisible to the camera, sits within the stagecoach, working through a peephole beneath the driver's seat. Now this will be what is known as a trucking shot, with the camera car racing ahead of the runaway stage. And the movie version of a runaway stagecoach drama begins. Donna spurs her horse into the chase. Inside the coach, the blind driver struggles with the invisible reins. Donna, riding hard, closes the gap. The slow-motion camera records her stagecoach rescue. She makes a grab for the baggage rail, a miss, and a near slip from the saddle. Another try coming up. This time, a neat transfer out of the saddle onto the wildly careening stagecoach. This is where Donna earns every penny of her stunt girl pay. A fall here would be tragic. Now she picks up the reins and the blind driver reins in the horses as Donna acts out a struggle to stop the runaway team. All in a dangerous day's work for a stunt girl like Donna Hall.
Well, Donna Hall, we're grateful to you for showing us some of the tricks of your hazardous trade.
I should be thanking you, Jack. This is the first time I haven't had to be somebody else.
Well, Mrs. Edwin Beardsley, we all saw the girl who's never herself on camera. You asked for it. You know what this is? It's a magic carpet capable of taking you to any country in the world. It's a bulletproof shield allowing you to sit in the middle of a gunfight without ever even being hurt. It's a time machine that can whisk you back to the days of Napoleon or forward into tomorrow's age of space. Sound mysterious? Actually, it isn't. Now, this is a machine called a moviola, identical to the ones on which your favorite movies and TV shows are edited every week. Right now, we're going to show you some film that we put together on this machine, and we invite you to watch carefully. But let me warn you in advance not to believe everything you see, because you're about to be fooled.
Don't say we didn't warn you. You know, I really think the craftsmen who make movies can create any illusion under the sun, from destroying an entire city with an earthquake to blowing up a man before your very eyes. Now, we've come here to this movie location because Nelson Smith of Troy, New York, wanted to go behind the scenes on a typical Hollywood battlefield
and learn how they film a full-fledged war. Now, he wants to learn how they can explode shells near actors and how machine gun bullets can land just inches away without anyone getting hurt. Well, Nelson, our crew has transposed this quiet countryside into a veritable battlefield. Now, I want you to meet Cliff Rose, one of Hollywood's best stuntmen. Cliff, tell me, how do you get the effect of a shell landing nearby?
Well, actually, shells are never used. Generally, the special effects men will either use dynamite or black powder, cut in either quarter or half sticks like this.
Well, then I guess the charge is set off with a plunger, huh?
No, we never use plungers. This is called a firing board. And each charge is wired to one of these connections, and you can set off one or a dozen by just doing this.
I get it. Well, then with the whine and the boom of a shell sound effect, you can create the idea of a whole army firing heavy artillery.
Yes, that's right. And not only that, the actor knows exactly where the charge is going off.
Well, that brings up a point. How close can an actor be to a blast?
Well, approximately 6 feet. See, there's actually nothing flying in the air that will hurt them, and it's all cork and sponge rubber.
Well, now, how about the machine gun bullets? How's that done?
With these small charges called squibs, they're placed in a row in the area where you want the bullets to land, near the actor. Then they're fired in rapid sequence. Hal, how about running through that squib scene once more?
Well, now, Nelson Smith, here comes the big one. Earlier, you saw Harold Needham apparently blown up before your very eyes. Here's how that was done. A large weight is pulled into the air with a truck and tied off. The 1,200-pound weight is supported by a steel cable which runs through pulleys across a beam and down to the ground on the other side. Harold wears a parachute harness under his Army uniform. The steel cable is hooked into a ring on the side of the harness. Cliff Rose climbs up the pole to a small platform. He's dressed exactly like Harold. Harold makes a last-minute check of his harness hookup, and we're ready. And now here's the whole thing in slow motion. There goes one man up. And he stays up there. Well, now watch closely as Cliff Rose jumps down as if he were the same man hitting the ground. Cliff Rose and Harold Needham in an exhibition of perfect timing. And I think you'll agree, it takes daring as well as skill to perform movie magic like that. Well, there you are, Nelson Smith. We all learned how Hollywood wages war. You asked for it. So that is the show. Nice collection of bits. Hal Needham doing his stuff. You see some of those falls hidden behind the shrubbery, and then he rolls out of the shrubbery, and their mattresses on top of boxes. It's a very similar scenario before the days of airbags, but they were creating something similar back then. Good to see all those other names as well coming along, and wire replacement, and the parachute harness taking him up in the air, and then the other guy doubling him, falling through the air, coming back to the ground. It's a very simple idea, in-camera ideas. So that was really good, and I hope you enjoyed that. And again, my thanks to the people from You Asked For It YouTube channel. We had a couple of correspondency bits from last week. We looked at the bathroom fight from Mission Impossible. There was somebody who responded who was there. They were there. They responded, and they sent a whole few bunch of bits and pieces. I would like to show you on screen what they said, and I will do that right now. It was from a guy called Rockhopper1. And he says, that was a soft set. The flooring was soft and padded. The doors on the cubicles were soft. The pipe work was PVC pipe or cast rubber. The breakaway wall was a simple breakaway piece. There are building materials that are very brittle, and they were used. The sinks were all made out of biscuit foam. I like the idea of biscuit foam. Likewise, the toilets were as well.
All the props were rubber. The breakaway mirror was a standard breakaway mirror. You mentioned no padding. There was padding on the actors. How much they would have refuted it. Yeah, I mean, it was a story I was told, so I was merely referring to that, but clearly you were there and you know different. D30 Diablo armor used in the motorbike industry is moldable and very thin. It's non-Newtonian. Newtonian. It's a non-Newtonian fluid rubber and can be placed on the actor, and you'd know it's there. You can get skin-coloured coverings. I've seen a stunt woman wearing a crop top and a skirt get hit by a car and body roll a 25 mile an hour landing on the tarmac after a rotation in the air wearing this stuff. Durable, most certainly these days. The sinks in the background and the toilet biscuit, as I mentioned. The sink and toilet bought from B&Q. Molded in silicon and taken back as a return. That afternoon, somewhere out there is somebody with a bathroom that's used in Mission Impossible. A stock of bathroom furniture was ready to be hot swapped on set. The mirror stunt was practiced months ahead, and testing was done. It would have to have been, obviously, for the hip wire, the hip cable to assist there. Practiced by the FX team, and time and time again the stunt double practiced it. I can't remember if they used second skin on that, which is an aerosol first aid plaster. You may have seen that. You simply spray it on, it creates a layer. It dries clear but stops scratching and cuts on breakaway glass. That's very important these days. Even the tiles were rubber. I can't remember if the pipe work was garden hose painted silver. The sink trap, I remember, was white PVC plastic painted silver with water inside the trap to sell the illusion. A second trap was made out of soft urethane foam. Rock Hopper. Fabulous job, friend. Thank you very much indeed for that. You must tell us what you do, if you would, because if I click on, you are Richard Cave. Richard Cave, it says here. He is Rock Hopper 71 LBPPA. Let me know, please, if you would. It would be great to hear from you. In relation to your knowledge there. That's fantastic. Thank you very much indeed for that. But how do you know that, and why were you there? Maybe fill us in with some of the blanks. And that's about the size of it. Next week, more of the same. Don't forget to check out the podcast, subscribe, hit the Linktree link. It's down there, you know. Go and check that out. If you're a fan of Bond, I have the Bond Buzz podcast with myself and the lovely Bonita Drake from Sweden. There is a playlist on this channel for Bond Buzz. If you fancy catching up on that, that's got YouTube, and it's got... sorry, not YouTube. It's on here. That's clearly why. It's got podcast, and it's got all the social medias there as well, so check those out. And until next time, it's bye for now.